No need to be sorry, but let me handle this, said the return. Marcus then gave a thumbs up. You know, I do have to be honest with you, Valerie, said the return. What is it? Queen Valerie asked. It took me 3 years to get over the death of your father, and I did it in an asylum. It's been 30 years since I disappeared for you, and you still haven't seemed to have gotten over that. Maybe it is time to put you in an asylum, said the return. Queen Valerie's cries then turned to a scream, and King Morven looked like he would beat up the return if it was in his nature to do so. But then again, I think it was with his parents, so I think it shocks me that he didn't do it then. Marcus I could see scooch up to the return and whisper something in her ear that I couldn't make sense about where it was because he whispered so quietly, which is something uncommon among autistic people, so that actually shocked me a bit. I'll discuss it with you later. Not now, said the return. Marcus then gave the return a thumbs up, and then he scooched back. Queen Valerie was still whimpering, and then the return began talking again. So, Morven, what do you do for a living? The return asked. I am a comic book artist, said King Morven. Really? For what company? The return asked. Marvel, King Morven answered. Where is your mother? The return asked. Where is your office? The return asked. It is our 35th and Orchard on the Orange Line, answered King Morven. Do you like what you do? The return asked. I do. It pays me unbelievably, answered Morven. Is that how you ended up placing Robbinsog in the Chicago Loop? The return asked. With your daughter's salary too, answered King Morven. I know this is a personal question, but you are my son-in-law, so it is okay for me to ask. May I ask how much you make? The return asked. No, answered King Morven. You're right, I was just joking, said the return. That joke was not a joke, and it was not funny in the slightest, said King Morven. Were you offended? The return asked. Yes, answered King Morven. Well, too bad. Your cougar wife has offended me since my husband died, which was the worst thing I've ever needed to get through, said the return. Queen Valerie then untucked her head and hissed at the return like a cat mixed with a snake. The return hissed back. Well, time to go, said King Morven. King Morven then lifted his wife up and began walking to the door and put on his wife's cloak back on his wife, and then began to leave before he stopped. I am heading to the train. If you are not there by the time it gets there, I am going back to Robbinsog without you, warned King Morven to Marcus, because I was heading back to Howard. Fine, said Marcus. King Morven then finally shut the door. That salary joke really was not funny, said Marcus. You do realize that was just about as much frustrating for me as it was for all of them? That is not what I just said to you, said Marcus. I know it wasn't, but I need you to listen to me, said the return. I'll try, said Marcus. Here's the deal. Your mother does not know that I am back to help save her, and I want it kept that way, said the return. Why? Marcus asked. You'll find out when the day comes we do save her, said the return. Well, what else is it you want to talk about with me? Marcus asked. Here is the status between my relationship with your mother we are doing. Here is my status between my relationship with your mother. We're doing better, but it's very important you don't say anything, said the return. You just said that, said Marcus. I know I did. Right now she's willing to let me talk to her, but we are still on bad terms, said the return. In your eyes, are we in a good status for you, yes or no? Marcus asked. Well, yes, the return answered. Good. I think at this time I better get going too, said Marcus. Okay, said the return. Marcus and I then put our cloaks back on. We will be back here, but here's a piece of advice. If you want to have a good relationship with your daughter again. How about you be nice to her and her son-in-law to begin with, shouted Marcus at the end. We then walked out of the return's apartment. Can I ask you an honest question, Hannah? Marcus asked. Sure, I answered. Do you feel I was too harsh on her in the end? No. Thank you for answering. You're welcome. We then began walking north up River Street toward the Rosemont Blue Line station. The station was hard to see because it was in the middle of the Kennedy Expressway, aka I-90, right by its interchange with I-190, which is the auxiliary route of I-90, specifically meant to serve O'Hare Airport. Do you see my parents? Marcus asked. No, I answered. I'm so sorry if that was too much for you. I went because I thought it was going to be too much for you. Not I. There was nothing new for you to apologize about, I answered. I know, but still, I don't like how she treated my dad a little bit, and my guess is that with how my dad was treating my mom, and with how gentle he was with my mom, that I don't think he would have stood apart with my grandmother. That is to return to you, I corrected. Okay, I know, but still, I saw things in there that were not in any way okay. Well, then again, we don't know what happened in that fight between the return and your mom. So what do you think happened? Marcus asked. I am sure it was hard for your mother. That's why she wanted us to stay outside, I answered. That is what I was thinking too. It is just that, then again, I yelled at her as we were leaving. True. Do you wish it were different? I asked. I wish a lot of things in my life have gone differently, Marcus answered. Like what? How about you come up with an answer on your own? Like not going on this journey to save your mother's life sooner? Correct. But think about it. If you did, George wouldn't have been able to help you because he would be too young. I know, but still. He also didn't want to do this in the beginning. You wanted to be Dr. Marcacius originally all of the time. I know. You have changed by doing this, and for the better, too. Well, then I have another argument. What is it? Do you know what is the best way Dr. Marcacius has impacted me? No? It is you. How? Because had it not been for Dr. Marcacius, I never would have found you at the costume store that night. What? Marcacius rushed over and kissed me on the lips. That felt good, I said. I know it did, said Marcacius. We then arrived at Rosemont Blue Line station. It was about 3 minutes before I rode with Marcacius on the Blue Line train to Forest Park and got off at Jackson, to catch the Red Line to head north up to Howard, and then I went to my room to continue with law school work.